You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
All right, buddy. So how you doing? So
Not too
midweek,
bad.
we're getting a hell of a lot done. Wow,
Yes,
we're getting
we
a hell
are.
of a
We're-
lot done, eh?
We're crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Man, we're not taking any
Ooh,
prisoners this week.
That's right. Dotting the J's, too.
Dotting the J. Those damn J's.
Those damn
Often
J's.
neglected.
Yeah.
No, it's been a lot. Like, I
good.
mean, we were just cranking. Okay, because we have shutdown next week, and this episode is actually going to be playing on our off week,
On our
so
off
we won't
week.
be recording. So
That's
we're going to have
right.
1 week holiday. But
Yep.
but hey, you guys are covered because we love you.
That's right.
How much do
We're
we
not
love
gonna
them?
leave.
How much?
We love them so much that we're never going to leave you guys in the lurch,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I was going to go with love them so much that we've helped them. Like what happened today?
Oh, yes.
We
We
had-
helped people today.
Right?
We
had-
helped a person.
We connected with one of our listeners today, and
Yes.
she was wanting to go freelance, and you know, like took some courage and some talking. We talked about everything. I don't know for sure how much good advice we gave, but it was kind of like
I think it was great advice.
and she seemed pretty happy. She seemed pretty damn cool.
Yeah, she was
And,
very cool. Yeah,
right.
Very smart, very together. I was surprised that she
a lot
was
of good opportunities too.
Yes.
She's got a lot of shit going on, and it's just when you're stuck in the middle of it, it's like you're in the middle of a tornado.
Yeah.
right. You're not sure what to take and what not to take.
Yes.
So I think I hope we're gonna follow up with her and see
Yeah.
how this goes. But,
Yeah, I think she's going to do just fine. Like,
Yeah.
you know, saying like it's the surprising, the shocker to me, the takeaway to me was like that she actually loved her job.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
But I mean, it was obvious. Loved the job, but that job was limited in both where she was going to go in the future and
Exactly.
even the future of the position.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So,
Totally.
but she also loved freelance. She loved dealing with the customers, and
Yep.
there's so much more of a future. You know, when she's going to go off on her
Yeah,
own to
and she-
start her own agency. So that's fucking awesome.
Exactly. She wanted to take it from the production up to more of a
Full
design.
agency model, helping.
Yeah,
Good for her.
Which is
Anyway,
great. Which
yeah.
is so great. That's
So we do that. We
Yeah.
help. So she connected with us on Instagram initially, and it's cool because we have a really good community out there. And there's a lot of really exciting shit that we have planned for the future, right? And a lot of it we're going to be teasing through our Instagram. So by all means, check that place out. But you know, don't be scared to leave us a line. But we want to try something else before we get too crazy on Instagram. Is we want to start reaching out to listeners with more survey type stuff. Right?
Yes.
We often come up with our lists. We often come up with our top lists, top struggles, top funny things, horrible stories. And okay, we have a small sample group of like 10 people, but honestly,
That's
I want to get this giant. I want to get this to like 100 people, 1,000 people, like 10,000 people, right?
yes.
So we've got a small group of people already giving us their email address on our website. So please, I'm encouraging everybody, if you want to be included on some of these lists and help us, you know, organize what our topics are, the top 10 lists or the top 20 lists, you know, and
Favorite
be part of
designers.
this group. Yeah, like everything from famous designers to, you know, the shit that you go through, production issues, anything, right?
Yeah.
Please come to our website, you know, fill out the form, drop us your name and number and be like, I'm in. I want to do this. And honestly, we'll throw you on that list. And in a couple of weeks when we start, you know, coming up with some of the bigger, more list type of, you know, like talks that we have,
Yeah.
I want to make that huge because I love this. I love getting all this feedback from
Yes.
everybody, right?
Yeah,
It's cool.
totally.
So do that,
Yes.
please. Do that. And yeah, and you know what? And with that being said,
Yeah.
even on our Instagram, like, I mean, if you want to be, no, because I need their email address, so they can't hit us on Instagram.
Right.
They
I
have
guess
to
that
do
won't
that.
work. Yeah.
But I mean, Instagram is still a great place where everybody's communicating with us. So the girl that we talked to today that we helped, she reached out first
That
on
was
Instagram.
Instagram? Yeah.
It was. And then we connected from there. But I had another person reach out on Instagram. Okay. And this was a completely interesting topic. So this girl, she's a graphic design student. She's completed her third year, okay, of design, and
yes.
she's like, I'm thinking about doing a master's in design.
Right.
And I'm like, a master's in design, huh? In graphic design. She's like, yeah. Professor has recommended that she apply, of course, right? She enjoyed learning. She feels like she still has a lot more to learn, you know, and she's a little terrified that she's going to be finished school and has to go to the real world, right? Like she's got this whole lingering fear that can she actually make it in the design world, right? So great topic. And I was just like, at first I was like, oh my God, dude, just Just call me and let's talk about this. But something like, she felt that a master's degree is something that would help her feel a little bit more secure in her future.
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, again, as soon as I read that, I was just like, oh, fuck, come on. So again, my response, plain and simple, was the short answer to this.
Yep.
Okay. Is there's no level of schooling, okay, that is going to guarantee yourself to have a successful future in design. Period.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's all up to you and how bad you want it. No amount of schooling, no school, no Ivy League, anything, is gonna make that much of a difference. Right? And I think that's the part that I think everybody's kind of like so grayed out about. If I go to a design school, if I go to a prestigious, and again, we come from different angles in this, because you did go to design school and completed it.
Yes. And also just put a child through a design school.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was expensive.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk
Exactly.
about that. But on the flip side, I started design school and I dropped out. I couldn't do it. I didn't drop out. I fed them the bird. I jumped ship and I went to a different industry. I went to the advertising and design course and learned the other side, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's so much to be said about this topic. Should you go to school to be a graphic designer, or can you make it without a design degree? And I think that's a hot topic that a lot of people struggle with.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I would agree with you on that one. And I would say back in the days when we were doing this, that was your option. Right?
You're right.
But today,
I know, right?
It's a different story.
It was an option. So it was an option.
Yeah.
And it was okay. So again, we both came in from, so you went to school.
I did go to school. Yes.
How'd you find the experience, Sean?
I enjoyed it. I really thought it was really good. I had a good set of teachers.
You went to a good college?
I went to a good college, George Brown College, which I enjoyed very much. And I learned a lot. Yep. And it was great. I think what that taught was work ethic.
Yes.
Oddly enough.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Like you had, I think if everybody was going there had a sense of design of what they were.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? But it taught you serious disciplines. They didn't fuck around with deadlines.
I kind of agree with that, because again, over the years I've seen hundreds of fucking student portfolios come through this place. We're always portfolio reviews, this, and we've got I've had everything, from Ottawa all the way to Windsor come through this place, right?
Yep.
And I can honestly say that George Brown was my top 3
really
of consistently good portfolio. Honestly, it really was. It was way. To be honest, George Brown was my favorite portfolios. Fanshawe did a good job though.
Fanshawe was
what
a great
they
course.
did for their students.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
So now my experience, and the Sheridan College students I saw come through here, that's where I kind of went. Not so impressed with.
What?
Okay.
Really?
And again, so that's where I went, was Sheridan. And again, back in the day, right? Yeah, great program. Apparently it was one of the big ones.
Yeah.
But again, so my experience, right, was first off, big step back for me, right? Because entering college, I already had a freelance business for 2 years. Granted, it was little shit.
Yeah. But still,
I was
experience.
I was already on a Mac. Okay, I was already in a Mac. Granted, using SuperPaint and PageMaker because design software wasn't where it was supposed to be, right? And I just started dabbling in the Adobe products. But nonetheless, by the time I got to college, I'm like, dude, I'd already made a commitment to put down my pencil and pick up a mouse because I knew that's the future of graphic design. And right off the bat, pushback right away. We don't touch computers until the 3rd year. Are you fucking kidding me? You're still doing cut-ups. And they were still teaching people. Nobody does this anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Do you realize? No, I'm just entering your school and fine. I stuck to it. I did all the ink drawings and all the bullshit. Did the typography class. And again, I got it. But it all changes when you go to a computer.
Yes.
Right. And I get the design principles portion, right? So I struggled. But the thing I struggled with most was the fucking teachers.
Oh, really?
And I had, again, I always pushed.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Right. I always pushed. I was always pushing. I was always, questioning, never being a dick. But, when they're grading you something on, they're being subjective on if they think it worked or it didn't work.
Right.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's their opinion. Right. And it was never an ad.
Yes.
It was always more abstract type stuff. And I'm like, dudes, so it frustrated the hell out of me. And they said, with your attitude, you will never make it in this industry. And I'm like, thank you, my fucking professor who's supposed to be motivating me to. So literally it was almost, dude, it was so ridiculous. And then they're telling me they don't favor anybody and this and that. And I'm like, dude, it was so my experience was really shitty, but that motivated the hell out of me to be like, fuck you. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Totally, yeah.
And oh, dude, like seriously, like teachers and coming out of high school, the teachers, they motivated me and they got me on track, right? Because I was like a wild child. Who knew where I was going to go? They brought that in and they kind of like gave me a focus. But then college, all they did is they didn't kill it.
Yeah.
On a good note, because I was
good,
still determined to do this.
Yeah.
Fuck them. But I mean,
Well,
no, honestly, like it's such a big bullshit. You can't. So I mean, again, so I respect anybody who does stick it through and make it through.
It's hard.
It's hard as hell, but I don't necessarily. I'm not convinced that you need it. And again, we came back at a time where there was none of this available shit on the internet. There was no YouTube.
Nope.
There was nothing else out there. So for us to learn what we had to do, it was pure grit. It was buying the magazines. Dude, the graphic design magazines that you bought every month were like $20-$30 a piece, and that was
not cheap.
20 years ago, right? The books. I have a giant collection that again you learn, and then again it was a lot of trial and error.
Yes.
Right. Because again, the information was in. I have learned more theoretical design principles and theoretical shit in the past, we'll say 7 years, 8 years than I have my entire. Because again, it's all so available now, right? It's crazy. So it blows me away when people are only like, no, you have to go to school or you're done.
Yes.
Because it's not so cut and dry anymore.
That's the thing. And I believe that's an old way. That's kind of old school. Pardon the pun. Yeah. It's an old school mentality, right? I think that's what our parents did or this is what we did. Kind of thing.
And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, an architect,
I want to see the MBA at the end of that.
Because if I'm coming in there, I want to see a degree on your wall saying, I graduated. The higher the marks, the happier I'll be. But this isn't so, we're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about design, right? Yeah. So, okay, what does school provide you? Okay, so we got to wrote down notes here, okay? But first and foremost, obviously, a degree to hang on your wall.
Oh, that's so important.
It's something that says I completed this, okay? Yes. Which again, is that going to help? In all fairness, dude, in all my years of hiring and firing people, hiring, let's not talk about the firing. All my years of interviews, not once have I asked to see a degree. I've maybe taken them. Sometimes I glaze over. I'm like, oh yeah, George Brown, I like it. Or Sault Ste. Marie College of Fine Arts. Okay, whatever.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it really has made little difference to me because unfortunately, the proof is in the portfolio.
Right.
Right.
And you use it more for a profiling thing.
You're 100% right. I do.
Yeah. Wait. Fine Arts College? Yeah. Get the hell out of here.
Buddy. So provides you something you can hang on your wall, right? But you know what? If you want to be a graphic designer, you can fake that shit if you really want it hanging on your wall. Okay. Okay, I'm not endorsing that. But anyway, portfolio. Yeah. You build a portfolio.
Yes.
Okay. Which is good in the sense that it gives you confidence.
Yeah.
But let's face it, in a real world environment, it's like, it's a college portfolio, which means you've had free reign, you've had tons of timeline, a very vague brief that you can be interpreted in so many different ways.
Yep.
So it's like, how much of that can I take seriously? I would rather have always seen real work, shitty stuff, than nice practical school stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Huge difference there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, school does provide you with design principles in all fairness, and it gives you the principles in design, principles in typography, right? Okay, cool. Okay, and I can't fret that because again, that's all classic stuff, and that's what school's about, right? It's about this kind of education. But school's not the only place to learn this kind of stuff.
This is true.
Okay. Does provide higher education. Nothing wrong with that. Yep. Okay. So that's fine. And it does give you the opportunity to learn the tools.
Yes.
With somebody guiding you step by step.
Yes.
And again, I remember, having a teacher over my shoulder being like, okay, this is PageMaker. This is how you do this. Try this for a couple hours. Try this, try this, try. So there was something comfortable about that.
Yeah.
But again, I guarantee you can learn everything and then some on something as free as YouTube.
Yeah. And
then on paid services like Skillshare and Udemy and all that.
Udemy,
okay.
Yeah.
Lynda, like everybody's got this stuff. And there's like a billion of them out there.
Yes.
So again, how important is that? I don't know, right? Job opportunities. Okay. It can give you job opportunities. Okay. And usually through a co-op type environment. Okay. But more times than not, you have to find that co-op placement yourself.
What?
Which is, and maybe it's different, south of the border, but up here, it's like I would get regular emails. I'm entering my summer term. I need a co-op placement, blah, 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 blah. And it's just all these students are doing, it's, they would get so many more eyeballs if the teacher came up and was like, hey, this is our course.
Yeah.
This is what, we need some placements.
Yeah.
Would you consider, And that was the only time that we would accept co-ops. And I hate to say it sounds so shitty, but I sound snobby, but I needed vetted people.
Yeah.
And so when we had the coordinator from the, the design college here reach out, and she's like, I got somebody perfect for you. Then I paid attention.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like having 20, 30 emails come through saying, do you accept co-ops? Do you accept co-ops? I need a co-op and your company looks like exactly what I want. I'm like, bullshit. You didn't see our website. We obviously don't, because we have nothing on our website. So it's like, you have to find, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah, totally. So if it comes from, the person that we hired, she came from the coordinator from the school, rather than she reached out to you.
Exactly. The coordinator, she picked up the phone. She's like, Moss, I got somebody. And then, I think she'd be perfect co-op placement for you because she fits your vibe and everything. And look, we hired her.
Yeah.
She pretty much runs the whole fucking place. So, and she's, young and wants to learn, and all the opportunities in the world she'll have to her, right? And she wants to stick her out and keep learning.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So again, but it wasn't because she reached out, because unfortunately that's one in a million, and so many of them, right? It's because her coordinator, and that's what the school should do.
Exactly.
But it's too much work probably, and that's where, frustrating.
How hard would it be to do the exact same thing the student's doing?
Yeah.
I guess,
and then you could do one for 30.
Yeah,
one teacher,
30,
and again, you'd have a lot more. You develop the relationship. They reach out, and then it's just like, I guarantee you, more agencies would rather deal with the coordinator. So I'm kind of shocked that they don't do that, and disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah.
And last but not least, school provides you a mountain full of fucking debt. And I'm not talking a little bit of debt. I'm talking a mountain full. Yes. Okay. So just to give you an idea, average tuition to attend a design school in Canada is about 10 grand a year. And that's just tuition. Okay.
Sounds about right.
US starts at about 2025 and it goes up from there. And this is a fucking year. Okay. And that doesn't even include living expenses. So again, you're a student, you got to live somewhere. So what's that? 500, 800, $1,000 a month. Then you've got to consider your food, entertainment, clothes, blah, 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 right? So that's thousands more on top of that. So living expenses somewhere between, we'll say 10 and 20 grand. So, and the programs are 3 to 4 year programs. If it's a master's, you could be up in a 5 if you're actually foolish enough to try to, go down this road, right? So we're talking somewhere between 60 and 135 plus $1,000. Okay. And this is just to actually get this degree, right? Then you finish school with this giant amount of fucking debt, okay? Like a small mortgage, okay? only to get a job. And let's assume straight out of school, you get a good job.
Yes.
And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they're going to pay you 50 grand a year to be a junior designer, which is fucking unrealistic. But this is what the school tells them they're going to do. Okay. So let's just say they're going to start off getting a job at 50 grand a year. Okay. After taxes, okay, you're looking at somewhere between 35, 38 cash, okay, 35, 38,000. That's after tax money that you live on, and you pay for your Starbucks and your weekend retreats and your dinners, and you pay for your debts on, right? So that's after tax dollars. So of that 35,000, you've got what? Maybe you can put 5,000 towards that a year towards your debt. Dude, it's going to take you like 20, 25 years to pay off that school. And that's the trade-off. That's fucking scary. Like, you're never gonna, and this is for something like graphic design. I mean, I'm scared to find out about lawyers and doctors. That's a whole different thing altogether. And I feel for those people because they need schooling. But for design, which to me is so passion-based, I didn't learn what I learned in school versus what I learned out of school was such a huge difference.
Yes, it's not even it's apples and oranges, really.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Kind of, right?
You can learn a good fundamental kind of education from a school. I think that would be your basic stuff. But we all know that this job is not basic.
Well, it's
you
not,
don't have basic
right? It's
things
not
coming
design,
to you.
while it is a process,
yes,
it's
it is,
not
yes.
predictable.
That's right.
Right? And the thing is, so I'm not necessarily saying that schooling, is a bad thing by any means, right? Thing is, you don't necessarily have to go to school to learn,
Yes,
right? And that's the
yes.
thing. Like, again, you constantly have to be educated to be a designer. You have to be educated
Yes.
to be a designer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's not school education. It's like life education.
Yes.
It's ongoing. You constantly have to be learning, right? The learning never, ever, ever stops.
Yes.
If you're a designer. Like I said, the past 5-7 years, I figured, well, we'll say 7 to 10, my design skills have just jumped because I've been learning more and more and more
Yeah.
about design and less about the business because I finally understood the business side
Yeah,
of it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No amount of knowledge is enough
Yeah.
if you're a designer and
Yeah.
you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
But that's not school knowledge.
No.
That's knowledge in general. That's life knowledge and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like education isn't a question here. I'm not saying that education is a bad thing, right? It's just learning, not learning isn't an option if you're a designer, okay? It's just a degree in design doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good designer. A degree in design just means you can follow a syllabus, okay, and come up with designs, with absolutely no commercial or time restraints. That's
Yeah.
what, a design degree shows you,
Yeah.
okay? And that's a false sense of completion,
Totally.
in my opinion.
Totally, yeah.
100%.
Yes, it is, and I don't understand why they would focus on stuff like that. And the funny thing is I don't know what the hell a course looks like nowadays.
Yeah.
I know, like, my daughter went through for like design.
Yeah, and at
like-
OCAD, which is
like
really fucking impressive.
which is amazing. And
Yeah.
so, but it was a visual design course,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Which,
yeah.
I mean, they didn't have that kind of stuff when we were coming
No,
up, right?
no.
So obviously they've adapted their criteria or their what they do, what they're teaching, to what the modern day is going to be like, right? So I think they might be getting on board with what's hip and what's current.
I don't know. I mean, I still feel no matter what school, no matter what it's still okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I agree with that.
Okay.
But it's still theoretical.
It's still theoretical.
100%.
Whatever you boil down to, it's all going to be
It's
your
always-
project that you want to do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly,
Not
right?
real world.
So it's kind of like this fake security blanket that
Right.
you're living under, thinking that if I do this and I follow this,
Yeah.
then my outcome will be successful.
Yes.
And it's not like, because you're putting so much on marks and a course outline that's provided to you to just follow step by step by step by step.
Right.
That's not a real representation of the real world. And that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget to factor in exactly what you were talking about earlier. It's an arbitrary rating system.
Oh, shit. Don't even start me on that. Don't even start me on that.
Exactly.
Sheer. Oh, my God.
Personal bias. Like, you don't like the student. If the student's lippy to you,
Yeah,
you're going to give them a shitty mark. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Yeah. It's
Drove me nuts. Dude, I remember
That's
this one
horrible.
project. It was so bad, okay? And it was, you had to do a design in ink that represented shear. And so I went with shear, like you shear a knife through something, right? Like just a very thin line, like a shear.
Yeah.
So I drew this giant block in black of like block of cheese or something, right? 'Cause Italian, I like cheese. And then I just kind of showed this small little thin hair of it, just kind of
Yeah.
sheared off. And it's always like just slowly traveling away from the rest of the block.
Yeah.
No, they felt that it didn't work. And so I failed on it. I'm like, how? To me, that works. To other people in the class, they were like, hey, that's clever. That works.
there.
Okay. The teachers didn't agree.
The
The
teachers
profs.
didn't agree.
No, the profs.
The profs didn't. agree. Yes.
Oh, dude,
because
that
you
really
weren't
fucking-
following what their criteria of
Yes.
sheer was.
Oh, dude.
Sheer has, and God bless English, because
Oh,
it's such
geez.
a fucked up language. But yeah, that's the thing. That's a different, to me, that's worthy of a better grade, because
Well, it's starting to think
it's
differently.
thinking outside of the box.
And it
yes.
really was, it felt like they were trying to kill that whole,
Yeah.
curiosity,
Yes.
trying to push, and again, and it really felt, they're like, no, you need
Yeah.
to come back. You need to do it like this. And it's like, dude, it's abstract. You wanted us to do this. So again, but
Yeah.
that's why they felt I wasn't going to make it in the industry. So thanks for that. Schooling, I'm fine with. I get it, and I'm a big proponent of learning, lifetime learning.
Yeah.
You should be learning something new every day.
Yeah.
But even if you go to design school,
Yeah.
okay, to get a higher understanding of design principles of
Yes.
learning, dude, that's still only half of it. There's
Agreed.
so
Agreed.
many parts
Yeah.
that still make you not prepared. Like, number one, dude, out of all the design courses I've ever seen and people have interviewed, nothing teaches them soft skills.
Yes.
And now I'm a believer of soft skills.
Yeah.
Thanks to our episode on soft skills. I used to think they were wussy skills, but now I'm like, no, I'm a huge believer. Thanks, Sean. Literally, I used to. It was pretty rough.
I think it was me and Catherine. We were just hammering at you.
And by the end of it, in our podcast, it was like a light went off, and I'm like, I fucking get it.
Yeah, exactly.
All
and
right.
that's the shit you will never learn
Right.
in school.
Right. You know, and then there's this whole other side that we said about, you know, like the maturity of students. In all honesty, I don't know if at that age, when you're just fresh into, if you have the maturity to understand the design principles, design history, the way, you know, being in it for 10, 20 years, you can appreciate, right? They might look at people like Paul Rand and be like, oh, the fuck does this old guy know, right?
Whatever,
but after doing this for 20 years, it's sheer brilliance to see the simplicity and the beauty in his work, right? And then it makes you appreciate all these other people and what they're able to do. But I don't think you've got the maturity of that. You know?
Because that's the whole thing with school is you're flipping through the latest trend and you know what I mean? Like, oh, look at that. I'm going to fit that in.
100%, dude. 100%. And it doesn't teach you the business side.
Right.
And
Certainly
that's the
not that.
scary part, dude.
Yes.
Because again, I think that's almost more important than actually the design side, you know, especially when starting out, right? Because you can fumble your way through design. I hate to say it, right? Because different clients need different calibers and levels of design. But the thing is, you fumble your way too much through business, you're going to go broke really quick, right? Like it's the hardest thing. It was the hardest thing for me. So I was a passionate designer. Okay. And so the design came natural for me and learning design came natural. But I always got stuck on the business side and learning the business side and how to invoice, how to bill, right? And again, when we were going through this, there was nothing online for me to reach out to. I had to literally reach out to other peers and they fucking didn't tell me shit.
Because they don't want you to succeed.
I'm pretty jaded about that, to be honest. I'm really, you know.
Fair enough.
And
it's
even,
a tough game.
You know, even if they do teach you design operations, let's say hypothetically, you know, like the schooling does teach you design operations. Let's face it, design industries are all so quirky that there's no way that you could replicate everybody's processes, everybody's quirks, what everybody's project management software is. I mean, there's a million different project what are they going to do? They're going to teach you one way to do it, and it might be wrong for 99% of the companies that you're going to go work for.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's frustrating as hell. Like, this is what I mean, where I don't know how much it actually prepares you for the real world. And that's the part to understand.
You're absolutely right. There was no emphasis whatsoever on how you would manage either a freelance career or any kind of business. Like if you were going to go out on your own to be like, which is ridiculous to me. Like there should be a just, even if there's a rudimentary kind of class on how what business, you know, how to manage,
or even working with people.
Yes, how to manage your money as it's
your
coming
time,
in, what's going out, your time.
Some of the basic shit that we teach people before we even start bothering and teaching them design.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's like graduating with a higher level design principles isn't going to help in any which way. You know, isn't going to help you more than just literally going out there and actually, you know, failing a couple times, falling a couple times, you know, facing those fears that you have underneath this, you know, college or university security blanket and just facing it on your own. Like no education is going to help with that.
And there you go. You've just illustrated the best point there is. It's like no one fails in college.
Oh, God, no.
Unless you fail.
Unless you fail.
Unless you...
Well, actually, Sean, I guess you could get an F, which is kind of a fail.
Like, listen to the words of wisdom from me. But I should probably explain myself a little better.
Fails.
Unless you completely don't go to class. You know what I mean?
But it's true.
But
I get what you're saying.
If you try and you put in a minimal effort, you're going to get a C.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. In college, you basically go to college by choice.
By choice.
So you really have to fuck up.
Yeah,
as long as you show up and complete the projects, guaranteed you'll pass.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Guaranteed in that sense.
Come to the real world and fuck up and see how that goes.
Honestly, design education graduates, they're just not ready for real world design jobs.
That's true.
Okay. And that's the problem. So, you know, they'll leave school unprepared, right? They don't understand the pace that we have to work on. They don't understand the kind of output and the volume of output that we have to put on, right? The quality expectations that, you know, come from like customers at this point and how picky and how annoying they are, right?
Yes.
They don't teach you that shit,
No one
right?
teaches you that.
They don't teach you real world expectations.
That's right.
And that's the part that really concerns me when people want to continue on down this road to improve preserve their design principles and understanding and get a bachelor's in design and or a master's in design. But it's like, it's not just the design. And that's the scary part. It kind of inflates students' egos. Okay. And that's what they do. They give them this false understanding of how much money they're going to make and how much they deserve.
Yes.
Because they're fucking worth it. Right. And then, and then when they actually get there, they feel defeated.
Yeah.
If not cheated.
Yes.
Because they're like, well, I went to school and they're saying that I'm supposed to be doing this, but the reality is the entry level jobs are usually a fraction of what they told you, what they filled your mind with.
Yes, they're talking a senior level position that you've been doing for 20 years or 15 years, something like that. That kind of money. That's what they're saying. They're not saying how hard it is to get to that level.
Yeah. And then okay, not only that, but then they're stuck doing basically they're juniors.
Yeah.
So they're doing the kind of pay the bills type work.
That's right.
Stuff that keeps it. So it's obviously, it's not glamorous work. It's not the big flashy campaign jobs that they have in school that they have weeks and weeks and weeks to work on.
Yeah.
And so literally it causes all this angst with these new graduates and time. Dude, honestly, so we hired, you remember who we hired. So.
Oh, yes.
Well, one of the most classic employees that we ever hired, and she had a master's or a bachelor's in design.
Oh, really?
Okay, something she did, right? And that's why it was just like, well, that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
And again, I saw it. I never saw it before. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk to this girl, right? And it was in graphic design. So I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing. So I want to talk to you for sure, right? And honestly, we sat down. Her portfolio was pretty good, right? And I was like, I get it. Okay, it's college level stuff, but then she had some real work stuff because she was working at a real place. She was showing it.
Yeah.
She was only out 6 months, right? And but she had this degree. And then interview-wise, she was the best fucking interviewee I have ever had. She answered everything on the, like, I was almost intimidating. I'm like, holy shit, I think this girl's interviewing me in that sense. Saying everything proper, this, that, right? And I'm just like, holy shit. So good interview, good resume, good portfolio, right? I was like, okay, fine. Let's do it. Let's bring her on, right?
Done.
Within the first week, I was just like, what did I hire? And I was like, okay, maybe she's nervous. Yeah. Maybe she's new. Yeah. Okay, we're talking about soft skills.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
She couldn't get along with anybody here already within just literally the first week. Chip on her shoulder, edge, this, that, just pushing on. I thought that maybe this person originally in the interviews, I'm like, fuck, this has got potential to be like future creative director here, right?
Yeah, totally.
I was just like, this person could, take over and I can, go to the Bahamas or something. Wow. And then within the first week, it was like, she couldn't get along. Chip on her shoulder. She intimidated some of the other designers here, which is unfortunate. Some of the other, they just ignored her.
Yeah.
Okay. Which was unbelievable. She had no people skills, right? Rubbed everybody along the way. She thought that she was like queen shit, right?
Yeah.
Deserved so much awesome work, but her skills were barely of a junior. Her hierarchy was off. She had no understanding. She came up with some pretty good ideas. I give her that much.
Yes. Yeah.
But
very talented.
For design skills coming out of, having this like degree in design, dude, it was so disappointing. There was nothing there. I had no idea and again, needless to say, 3 weeks, we went our own ways. Okay. It was just like, I was sitting there thinking, I got to have a talk with her. This isn't going to work. On a good note, she felt the same way because nobody was giving her the time of day. Nobody wanted to work with this girl. And obviously she felt it too. And so it was a happy parting, unfortunately. But then I talked to somebody at a previous job, right? Where, she played it out like she was working 16-hour days and she was running the whole department and she was doing this and shit. And I'm like, holy shit, you ran the place. I talked to somebody afterwards who worked there. Yeah. They're like, oh, she left to go to you. Oh, how'd that work out for you? And then after talking, they're like, yeah, we ended up replacing her with a Filipino temp who only worked 12 hours a fucking week. And that's what replaced this girl who played. So again,
who worked 16 hours every day.
Well, obviously she didn't right? Not. Or she maybe went around and pretended to work or was doing what she was doing. But the reality is, her design degree got her in the door. Yeah. Okay, fine. Bad on me. Okay, bad on me. But it was so quick to realize that there was so many lacking parts in this person who had this huge degree in design that it was just, again, it just reaffirmed my feeling that it's like, you don't have to have schooling in order to be a good designer.
This is true.
Right? And that's the part. Like, Oh, dude. I was so heartbroken on that one. I was so heartbroken.
Well, I mean, this is the thing is you never really can understand what, and I guess this is part of what we're talking about today. It's like there's things that look good on paper.
Yeah.
And that's your degree hanging on the wall.
Yeah, right.
And then there's the real world skills that, everybody has known and needs in this business, right? Like
or lacks.
And it's tough because I had a conversation with Caitlin
Yep.
and we were talking about, getting started after school and nobody wants to hire you because you don't have any experience.
It's true.
But you got to get experience to get hired.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's really a tough sled. So I see the appeal to having an MBA at the end of your.
Fair enough. But
right?
I think it's like a false sense
But
of.
that's and then that's what we're here to debunk.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because that's not going to do you any good. They're going to look at you. It doesn't matter whether you have an MBA on the end of your. What's your work skills? Where have you worked?
Yep, exactly.
And you're going to say, I'm just fresh out of school. Well, they're going to be like.
What else can you do
exactly,
then?
exactly.
Like how much more noise can you make then in that case?
Right.
So, okay. So you said debunking. This is actually perfect. Myths. Okay. So myth number 1, education equals more income.
Yes.
So do you think that somebody who graduates from this kind of place, a school like this, would get more income out of the gate?
No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
Only because, again, I hate to say it, but I've never asked to have anybody, number 1, prove it.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 2, I'm always looking at experience.
Yeah. Yes.
And real world experience, not college experience.
Yeah.
So somebody graduates, and comes to me, graduated out of school with just a portfolio from school, they're worth this much.
Yes.
Somebody who's learned from a print shop, who then went to a screening shop, who then did some freelance. Well, that person right off the bat knows so much more.
That's right.
In those same 2 years that they're worth this much. Because I can, I can be like, you get to work right away and you can do this in the meantime while I train you on the rest.
Yes. Yeah.
So again,
Exactly.
I don't know. I think that's also this false impression for design. That is,
Yes.
for design. We're
Yes.
not talking about, for graphic design, even more so,
Yeah.
even more specifically. We're not talking about all the other kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
There's always been a hierarchy when it comes to, like you start at the bottom, you get the bottom wages.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you,
Yep.
like even if you were an experienced designer, it depends on the pecking order of things, right?
Absolutely.
You could just insert into the bottom and
Insert
work
to
your,
the bottom worker.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I talked to somebody else. I talked to my other friend. She's got an agency. We talked about juniors, what the rate is. Dude, her rate's exactly the same as mine. And she doesn't care if it's somebody with schooling or not. She just wants to say, what have you done?
Exactly.
Plain and simple.
Exactly.
So even if you have education and that income is going to be a little higher because you went to a little fancy school, I don't expect it to be too much. I expect it to be maybe 5-10% max.
Yeah.
And that's only if there's like a soft spot for that school. If I had maybe a graduate from my old school, I'd be like, okay, you know what, maybe, but I wouldn't even do it personally.
Exactly.
So myth number 1, education, I do not feel equals more income for this space.
Right.
All right.
Done.
Myths, competitive advantage. Design school gives you a competitive advantage. Does it?
No.
Well, it fooled me though. But you know what? Nobody else applied that was worth. So it fooled me with what I received, right? But I think it wasn't. I don't think it was the schooling that fooled me. It was everything that led up to you're hired that fooled me. It was a perfect interview, which I guarantee they didn't teach her
Some
there.
people are just good at that.
I think that's what it was.
Good at the sales aspect.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
think it was.
Right.
But competitive advantage, if I saw a resume that didn't have school on it and I saw a resume that did, I wouldn't pick one over the other at all.
Yeah.
At all. Even a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have gone to their digital. I would have looked at their social. I would have seen what they've done. Okay. I wouldn't. So you're right. Competitive advantage. If I saw 2 resumes in front of me, I wouldn't look once. I would go past that right away. Right away. 100%.
Yeah. You would. Yeah. That would be.
Okay. And this is me as an agency owner looking at people. Okay.
Yeah.
So clients don't give a fuck.
No.
So let's face it. Clients don't give a fuck. They don't. They're not like, can I see your design? No, this is me, right?
Yeah.
Me, agency owner. And again, I'm looking at resumes. I'm sifting them through.
Yeah.
I'll scan over education, but I will go right to, let's see the experience you have. And if there's nothing there, I go to the next level, which is, let me see what kind of social you've got. So that's what I go. So right off the bat. So you're right. No competitive advantage.
No.
Myth provides us a good sense of training. I'm
on the fence. I'm on the fence with that. I think it does It does and you and I, we talked about this before. We have very wildly different experiences. So I had a teacher and he was awesome. I had this project. I forget what it was, but you come up with 3 comps and then he green lights the final one that you do. So I the one that I wanted to do, I did a really good job on, and the other 2 I shitted it up, right? Really terrible. Put it in front of the teacher and he's like, well, I know what you did here. I know you did this. You want to do this one, but you shitted up these 2. So go back and do these 2 better.
That's funny.
So it's like
He called you on it.
That's kind of a real world experience, no?
Well, that is like a real world experience. And if you have a creative director that's going to be pushing you a little harder,
that's exactly it.
Fine. But I mean, the training,
and a client, even a client will see through that kind of shitty. You did a crappy job on these 2 because you want this one here, right?
Well, I know it's supposed to keep you trained. It's supposed to.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, can it move as fast as the real world? Like, can schools update as fast as real world training? Right. So. I get what you're saying there. In your situation, that was neat. He called you out.
Yes.
And, a good designer should call you out.
Exactly.
A good creative director should.
A good creative director will do that, and that prepares you for
this. This is like preparing for real world training. So in that sense, yeah. But what about like the softwares you learn, the techniques, all that?
No.
I don't know, right? I don't know if it is. And again, real world training, I mean, it doesn't necessarily talk about project management. It doesn't talk about time management, because again, school is not fair. School gives you unlimited time management. It gives you like 2 weeks to do a logo design.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to do 50 different comps and present. That doesn't happen. No. We always do 2,000 comps. But it's, so again, I don't know how real world that is. I remember pushing when I was on the board over at the college to say what we should be promoting. It was promoting real jobs, going to find out, offering our students, creating like an in-school ad agency, getting real jobs, giving them real topics. Everybody loved the idea, but it was outside of the school curriculum, and they didn't feel comfortable putting students through that, because it's better to give students a false sense of what the world is like.
So wait a minute, you were gonna
dude, I was gonna head the whole thing up for him.
So you were gonna turn your class, the Sheridan, into an agency,
into a real world little agency, get real jobs, have students team up, present the jobs to the clients. So real world shit. Okay, and they turn that shit down
at a fraction of the cost for.
Dude, I don't even think it was a cost. I think the whole thing that was proposed in the plan that we did was, it would be an application process, and the companies that wanted this free work had to apply, and then we would pick and choose. So we still had control. And they were just like, no, it won't work, and blah blah blah. And we're not going to do. They're not comfortable with it. So I was trying to inject some real world.
Yes.
I wasn't even getting that kind of. So it goes back to the system, and I don't. I think in that sense the system is broken.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of respect what Christo's doing, trying to change how education is, design education is, and he's trying to turn that upside down. I respect the hell out of him for doing this, but like again, putting real world that colleges up here, I don't know about the States, but they claim they keep it real by hiring real world people and, putting them and teaching in these classes. Yeah, I know some of the people that they put in there, and they're fucking morons.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids learning from these people. And how real world could they be if they've been in there for 10 years?
Yeah.
They've been removed from the design. The design world changes year after year.
Big time.
You're telling
no. And they're teaching the same curriculum every year, right?
Like I know, right? That's great. Yeah, really current.
So
they were has-beens, and that sucks. No, you can't do it. So then there's that, and then there's the whole. Obviously, we argued about the schooling prepares you prepares you for the real world.
Yes.
This whole episode was all about fuck that. It doesn't.
That's not true.
Okay. And last but not least, keeps you current. And schooling is the last thing in the world I think that keeps you current.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got amazing universities here that teach computer science, and they admittedly say what you learned in your first year will already be outdated by the time you graduate.
Yeah.
So, all they're teaching you how to do is they're teaching you how to learn. And I think that's the problem that design schools, they need to teach students the willingness to learn, the drive.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I don't think what they're teaching is going to help students I think that they should just focus, fine, if they want to focus on design principles.
Yes.
You know, get you solid designer and get
Yes.
you confident in that sense.
Yep.
Okay. But dude, send them out earlier. Get
Yes.
them real world experience.
It should be a 2-year program. And even that might be a stretch too.
I agree, dude.
You know,
I agree.
Like,
I agree 100%.
but, and you know, yeah, that's
Dude, when you have YouTube,
Yeah.
when you have, you know, Google
Linda.
everything.
Like Linda
Just has
everything.
Skillshare.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Aaron Draplin's teaching logo design on
Yeah,
Skillshare.
Skillshare. I mean,
Okay,
like,
who
just-
else? That's real world shit. Okay, granted, maybe his style won't work for you, but it actually gives his process.
Yes.
Real world fucking process.
Right, exactly.
Not
He
a
made-
teacher who's like,
Yeah.
okay, the first thing you do back in the
my
70s.
day.
Oh, jeez. Fuck. It's so true. It's so true.
Yes, I agree 100%.
On my opinion, okay, school provides you a security blanket. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. It's safe. You know, hopefully, you know, until you have to pay back those debts, you know, you're comfortable. And I'm saying, get the fuck out from under it.
Yes.
Okay. Get scared as fucking hell. Seriously.
Fear
Get
is
out.
your
Seriously.
motivator.
Face those fears and create your own fucking future.
Yeah.
Right? Don't rely on the school to try to tell you what your future is going to be, because the reality is you're going to find out sooner or later. Okay. And if you want to go to school, I'm for it. That's fine. Know what you're in for. But do you have to be in order to be a competent, successful designer? Fuck no. Honestly. Like, seriously, just don't fucking give up, because
Yeah.
perseverance is what makes you it's what takes you to the end.
That's
it
the
does.
truth. And passion.
Oh, shit. Passion, absolutely.
Is also like, you know, I know you and I are in the same boat with this. It's like, ever since we were young, we knew what the hell we were going to do. Like this, there's no question. There was no other. I had no plan B. I was fucked.
Thank God.
I know.
It's so true.
I know, but that's the thing is, so that alone is going to motivate you, and that was way before school.
Yeah, I know. I know. It was kind of like, I didn't even know what graphic design school was going to look like at that point.
I had no idea.
didn't
I
know.
just knew I was going.
That's it. That's exactly it. I just knew I was doing it, dude.
Yeah,
So true.
and whether it was, you know, worth it, I don't know. But I certainly know now. Today, I don't think you don't need to do this kind of stuff.
Not to the degree that we
Not to
did.
the degree
Anyway,
that we
it
did,
needs to
yes.
change a little bit, and
Yes.
and again, and then it's even questionable if you need it or not. To
Exactly.
be honest,
Exactly.
So the girl who reached out.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
girl who reached out at the beginning that we introduced this to, right? She hit me up and she said, finished off, and there's a perfect way to end this. Okay. So she said she just got her first real design job. It was a student summer position. And it was because, again, she was still scheduled to go to school in the fall.
Yeah.
She just wasn't sure if she was going to pursue this master's or not. Right. So she got her first job, and it was a student summer position. Okay. They just asked her to stay on board after the summer. They're like, you know what? Stick around, do this. Right. She says in 1 month, she's only been there for 1 month, and she's learned so much about designing for clients, and as well as the business side of design, that she wouldn't never have gotten in school. Okay. And she finished off by saying, all I can imagine is how much more learning and experience I would get from not doing a 2 to 3 year master's and instead trying, failing, succeeding, getting scared as hell, and just going for it. Dude, like that's right. This is just like
That
virtual
makes-
reach out and give a hug.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's exactly.
That brings a tear to my eye.
I'm gonna get a
That's so-
tattoo of a tear right now on my eye. Okay, that's so badass.
That is awesome.
Seriously.
That's so good.
That's what this is about.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
That's
and
exactly
again,
it.
and it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if she was, you know, at a production role at this point,
Whatever.
or if she was, you know, like, really, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's just the fact that she's already experienced and felt what the real world is like. And it can be scary as fucking hell. And it could be tiring as hell.
Yep.
And the real world can be, you know, annoying as fuck, because we know what the customers can be like. But you know what? Again, it's the best fucking ride. Just deal with it, accept it, and just run with it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, reading this, again, this is one of those things that just makes it feel like everything that we're doing is just so worth it.
That's so good.
Boom.
And just like that.
Yep.
Saves this girl what?
Oh, God.
$20,000.
I know, right?
I
wish
I can't even know how much.
50, 60
yeah,
probably.
Exactly.
Oh, I wish I would
For
have
an
talked to her
MBA.
3 years ago. No, but still. You know,
yeah.
she did her first 3 years, and that's fine. It was the master's question, but it was that security blanket.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is proof that it's like she's doing the right thing.
Yes.
And she's gonna learn more. You know,
Yeah.
in 2 years,
working
for a small company, she will learn more about the business of design.
Yeah.
Okay, and real design.
Yeah.
Than she would. Absolutely, in 2 years, if not in 5 years.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So good on you. So
Yes.
lots of love. Very
That
happy
is
about this one.
awesome.
I know, right?
That is a great story.
So, and this
Holy
was
shit.
this was through Instagram. So again, hit us up on Instagram because honestly, we actually do. Sometimes we're a little behind, but we do reach out, and this is a great place to connect. So
Totally. Yeah.
yeah. All
And
right.
stories like this just warm our
This is what makes it
our
work.
black hearts.
Yes.
We're so mad. We're so mad, but we're big softies inside sometimes.
Oh, it's because we love what we do so much.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
And we
totally.
love hearing stories like this, and we love being proved that we're fucking right. Yeah,
And
right?
humble.
And
And
humble.
humble. You. Oh shit. All right,
boy.
everybody.
That's
Please, by all
awesome.
means, if you like what you heard today, please leave us a positive review. I'm going to stop hounding you guys so much. If you like it, do it. Okay.
Yes.
If you don't like it, fuck whatever. I don't care. People are actually enjoying this and they're getting shit from this.
Yep.
And that's what matters. And that ultimately is what matters.
Number 4 in Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, buddy, number 4. And we're back to number 4 in Myanmar, too.
Oh!
We got them back.
4s across the board.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's great. And
awesome.
by all means, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram. We're on Google. We're on Spotify. You know, we're even on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And there's going to be more YouTube stuff. There's going to be more fun stuff. We're talking about some really fun, cool stuff in the near future and some really big shit in the near future. Okay. The future's going to be big. It's huge.
Oh my God.
I'm loving it.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I know,
can't even-
right?
I can't even tell you.
Well, I know.
How excited- how excited I am.
So we're gonna have a lot of good fun. So stay tuned. By all means, show the love. And I think that's it, guys.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, really. I think that's it for tonight.
Yes. Good job.
All right, everybody. My name is Massimo.
My name is Sean.
Stay creative.
And stay angry. And stay out of school.